We'll get the cold open going here. Oh, speaking of cold open, is it cold where you're at, dude? It got cold again.
Yes.
This
Yes.
sucks royally. Like, and
History shows again and again how nature points out the folly of men, perhaps.
this is true. But oh, so did you so when you were sick, did you like get tested? Like, you were you actually like COVID positive or?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Nothing worse. Like, I don't know. You said you got it from you just kind of had it happen like when you were watching the nieces one day, or
No.
oh, did you go
I
to a?
believe I believe I got it from going out to a rock show.
Oh no. Would
I
you?
went out to a show
Mm,
and it was in a garage and like a big like an industrial like a brewery garage, like a big industrial loading bay kind of garage
oh,
with
okay.
big ass garage doors, and they were
Jeez.
open, and it was the one freezing night out here.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
it got so fucking cold by midnight, and when I was
Wow,
going out to my car, I was like fucking shaking. And
dude.
yeah, I think I lowered my core temperature and caught a virus at the fucking garage,
That sounds like a terrible time.
at the rock and roll beer garage.
The rock and roll beer garage.
Yep.
Sounds like a rough time. I I went out for my cousin's birthday, and like, so we had like a set amount of people. For one, like, being in food service as long as I have been, I'm like really agitated when people just randomly add on to already set reservations because you only have so many tables that you can work with. And then in comes my one cousin and her four kids out of nowhere. And I mean, yeah, it's my cousin's birthday. She should be there for that. I mean, my other, and it was just a madhouse. The kids all had some sort of a sore throat that they couldn't really put a pin on quite yet because it was still gestating. They couldn't test positive for it yet. And then I sit next to my littlest second cousin who's really cool, really really nice dude, and we talk the entire time, and he's like 3 feet away from me, and apparently he got it the worst, and like 2 days later I get a text message from my mother saying that everybody from the dinner got fucking COVID
Oh, god damn it. I
because,
actually managed to somehow not give it to my family the day after I went to that show. Because the day
dude,
after that was Easter.
oh man, it was like short. It was like the that Monday I ended up catching it, and then we did and then we decided to skip the show for Tuesday for the holiday,
Yep.
and then we had to skip another week because I could barely talk. That sucked. I still can barely taste, which pisses me the fuck off.
Terrible. It was not fun. It was a nasty thing to have happen.
Indeed. Well, I guess we have more positive things to look forward to. We're better within our health now. We're here. We're doing the show, and it's Tuesday. Ooh.
Hey, it is Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's time for Tuesday things.
Yeah. You ready to get those Tuesday things started?
I'm ready to do Tuesday things for
Uh,
sure.
all right. Tuesday things. Here they go. All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back. We lived. We've persevered. Woohoo.
All right.
All
Good
right.
for us.
Happy Tuesday.
I'm
Uh,
proud of you for living
I'm proud of you for
through
living.
what has occurred. Good. Awesome.
We should be both.
I'm glad we're living.
But yeah, gang, it's Tuesday, 5:30. You know what that means? It's time for Thought That Was Weird. I, of course, am Thrashkeiishu, and here's always the incomparable Mr. CuyaDK.
That's me. What's up?
That's that guy over there. Yeah, dude. COVID was some rough crap.
Cheers.
Hmm?
Yeah, that was cheers.
Yeah, cheers, bud.
That was lots of fun. Having COVID was yeah, first time for me.
First time for me too, which like, I've been so evasive of this shit that like again, I'm infuriated that I caught it because I was going to wear my mask for that because it was a like upon seeing this place, it was like a really tight bar and grill sort of place. And I'm like, well, everybody's gonna be seated far enough, I think. And by the time we were already seated, it was too late from that point. I don't even remember if I even brought the damn thing. I'm usually good about it too, but it is what it is. Live and you learn. But um, but yeah, what was I also gonna say? Oh, I am also throwing up a couple of the new episodes of Thought That Was Weird from a couple of weeks ago.
Excellent.
Get
On the
those up and
YouTube.
rolling on the YouTubes. Uh,
Good. I
yeah, yeah,
endorse this.
yes. I was going to reference back to the Umami Crimes of the Future video. I'm gonna probably have to you know do some messaging and make some phone calls, so forth, in order to make sure that it's okay that I put that up. But
Oh,
but
do you? Oh, okay, sure.
yeah, just
Yeah.
common courtesy. But the thing that I was that really got my goat from that last session was the discussion about uh the Philadelphia experiment, which
Yes.
I think you said was a film from the 1980s, right?
I think there is. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Unless I'm thinking of a movie called The Final Countdown. I think there is a movie called The Philadelphia Experiment.
That would be an even that would
I could be
the
thinking of
final
something
countdown.
totally. No,
But what?
that is the name of a movie.
Yeah, but Philadelphia Experiment had two separate movies, and most recently there was one made in
Okay, so you know
2012.
the answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Oh,
yes,
2012.
there was one made in 2012. Somebody bought the rights to
Okay.
that film concept and did it again. Don't know why, but they did. But but yeah, I've been kind of in this like little like listening rabbit hole. Um, I unfortunately I don't have any of those reference materials with me because they were like old YouTube channels with like old radio talk shows, and one in particular had interviews with some of the people involved in this whole thing with the Philadelphia experiment, and yeah, they were just really old, and I completely forgot what radio shows to give shout outs to, and if anything, I don't even think they're still around. They were like shows from like '93 or something like that.
Okay, so yeah.
Like it's like Larry King talk show like old.
Boy, radio is like a whole an age past kind
I
of
know, and
as
I
far as I mean anything that's
yeah,
on the radio now I'm sure is also being archived on the internet or on Twitch or something. So
it is.
like old radio talk shows from the 90s, one of the few
I am
hard to come
yeah,
by type of media.
I am still very um I don't know. I had an opportunity to do some interning at a radio station, and I kind of wish I did it now. But it didn't pay me any money, and at the time I needed money.
Sure. Well, yep. Sometimes
It,
sometimes
no,
it be like that.
it sometimes do be like that. To which, by the way, I've been trying to kind of go through and see what I could find, video wise, and I was fortunate enough to find this one dude, um, and oddly enough, he never says his name, but I don't know. He had this long-winded, he has these really long-winded, ridiculous explanations of. He's basically a conspiracy theorist at the end of the day. He's a unbearable conspiracy theorist, like about as bad as like David Icke.
Okay.
Like, well, like David Icke, but
That guy
but Alex
loves
Jones,
conspiracy.
but Alex
Oh
Jones or something like
wow.
that. Yeah, yeah. They're like but
So a fun guy.
yeah, he's a really fun guy,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think we're I sort of myself that I wouldn't give this man a platform again, but his videos are just really interesting, and I feel like they give at least a little bit of insight on this story. Um,
Okay.
so if we may, for the start of the episode, we're gonna actually watch another YouTuber's video. It's like a short, like 10-minute video, so we should be getting through it pretty quick.
Okay.
But but yeah, okay. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, here it goes. Yes, and welcome back to Truth Fist, the show where we get elbows deep to the truth. Yeah. And we get elbows deep in America while we're at it. I am, of course, your host with the most. I am the oppressed straight white male. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Oh, we'll be getting to that. That's a whole nother bucket of fish, brother. Let me tell you something. Well, that's to be debated, son. That's to be debated. But once again, to all my little fisters out there, America the Beautiful is under attack by the wandering hands of the deep state. That's right, the deep state. We know this to be true. And who is it that's running the deep state right now? And that is the reptilian Hollywood Illuminati, as pictured here. They've exposed themselves in a laughable fashion as I hold here the truth behind the realities of our great nation's demise. This may look like, very simply, oh, excuse me. There's our something pictured. Thank you, ominous voice from the void. Do I look like that? Do I look like? Do I look like Keith Olbermann? What kind of show do you think I run here? No, I don't talk to the peons. Anyway, so uh, different dude. But anyway, so here I have what seems to be a copy of a Dennis Hopper biography. Again, the original King Koopa. It seems that I have a simple biography about Dennis Hopper, but upon closer inspection, when held up to the light, when you wear special 10G deflecting glasses like I am, you can read the truth in the margins. we'll get to that. That's Dennis Hopper. Anyway, so when you hold it up closer to the light, written in the margins are the real plans of the slimy lizard people, as well as a map to FDR's hidden golden wheelchair. Now, this was sent to me by an avid viewer of the show, a Mr. Alfred Baguette. That man right there. So, excuse me. Wait, I missed it. He sometimes has a first. Oh, wow. Well, there we go. For some reason that happened. I think I need to do that. Excuse me. We're having technical difficulties. Just give me one moment here. Everything is just a big deep state conspiracy. I guarantee it. So now, well, if I have to explain it to you, that means that you haven't done your research. Well, as we all know, when Dad tells you to get in the Ava, you get in the Ava. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, so according to these writings by Mr. Baguette, it seems that the gay reptilian Hollywood Illuminati liberal elite plan to use us U.S. citizens as lab rats in order to test run their return to their gay reptile planet. Once they've reached the teleportation capabilities, they will begin teleporting more gay reptilians, infiltrating our populace and indoctrinating our children into something that I've only found to be known as the BLM Antifa Drag Story Hour. Now, they're all holograms. So this ritual is a frightening display where a possibly feminine presenting flamboyant person of color reads Clifford the Big Red Dog, but follows up with a political analysis by Noam Chomsky. But there is a red calf, and that's good enough for me, baby. Go Jesus. Next, after that, they begin to do a costume change where they dress up like Fidel Castro with the full beard and a cocktail dress, and then, bam, insta-gays. Whose conspiracy show is this? Neither would I, but I felt it was more patriotic. But anyway, bam, you get insta-gay hippies eating avocado toast. Oh, you will find out soon. Now, viewers, I hear you. Hey, Mr. Oppressed Straight White Male. Well, I do have a chicken foot bone broth. It's a chicken foot broth. Nah, that's just for my personal usage. Thank you. But anyway, so I hear you. You're wondering from this guy Where do you find all of this legitimate, factual, real, certified, fact-based facts from fact factories? And I understand your skepticism. I truly do. I understand your skepticism in my and Mr. Baguette's claims. But the fact is that the facts are showing to be factual to me. And things against my idea of what's factual are, as a matter of fact, not factual. Quite possibly. But the facts here are this. Around sometime in 1943, that's the COVID, excuse me, a destroyer-class ship known as the USS Eldridge was stationed in Philadelphia, filled with a... It was, in fact, called the Eldridge. But this thing was stationed in Philadelphia, fitted with electromagnetic generators, no doubt funded by the deep state for their teleportation experiments to their gay reptile planet. In an alternate universe, yes. But what's important here is the experiments were a sub-project of something known as the Montauk Project, codenamed Project Rainbow. This was later known by most as the Philadelphia experiment. You know what? It's good expectorant. It's working up everything and getting it all out in the open, just like my fisting truth. So what happens is this boat has these electromagnetic generators, and they started whirring, and it was seen by, of course, Mr. Baguette. With his own eyes when he served on a ship that was in the same port. Now, a mysterious green fog, as soon as the generator started going, started to envelop the Eldridge, right? And then it vanishes. It is gone for 10 minutes. And then it immediately showed up in the same place after that 10 minutes. Although it was said to have been in Norfolk, Virginia within that time period, although it is also said it transcended space-time. Something similar. Now, here's where Mr. Baguette's claims get really down to the nitty-gritty. So this was part of a project known as Project Rainbow. Now let's break this down. Rainbow, the symbol, yes, but it is also used as a symbol of the left's hatred of straight Americans. There is nobody straighter than me, baby. Well, that's debatable. So, we have Project Rainbow. Rainbow, the symbolism is very blatant there. Now I want you to take this into consideration. Philadelphia, a movie with Tom Hanks as a gay man with AIDS, and Denzel Washington, who's some lawyer. I didn't really pay attention. So, the underhanded symbolism by the deep state is all too clear when some sort of, when you tell you head the right way, it's all gonna make sense, I assure you. Now, here's where we get elbows deep into the fisting, gang. The truth. Rainbows. Don't forget. Symbolism for the hatred of white people and straight people. And Philadelphia, a movie by two gay reptilians. We know them to be reptilians because obviously they're from Hollywood. It makes sense. Read between the lines, people. The outright hatred of straight white males by the reptilians is becoming more and more clear. As it is indoctrinating your children next. We are inching closer to the apocalypse, and Mr. Baggett's lemon juice writings in this Dennis Hopper biography are the truth. All truth, all fist, no spit. I mean spit. So thanks for joining me today. You know, don't forget to get your next round of chicken foot water. Taste the literal steps to success. Now, coming up next on the show, we have some things coming. Coming up next, we have Tucker Carlson's. He's quit it. He joins us to beg for his job on Fox News back. But more importantly, after the break. So I've been getting these awkward erections when I watch Russian slap fighting. Is it gay, or am I just really appreciating the masculine gesture? We'll find out more after the break. Stay tuned. Yeah, so did that help explain anything about this? I feel like it didn't. No, he just uses a lot of hot button buzzwords and um just sounds like a complete moron. He does not explain himself very well. Especially when it pertains to the reptilian thing. I don't know. I think he watched Jurassic Park once and he went on a tangent. I don't know. Well, I mean the yeah, but yeah, that didn't really explain a whole lot. And unfortunately, that's been a lot of the discourse about this whole topic. I was finding very so. Again, I listened to a lot of old radio shows pertaining to this to see if I could listen in and get some, you know, understanding of this of the conspiracy at the time. And what was fascinating to me was a lot of the same like right wing conspiracy tropes were very big in that within like this time period. This was like the late 80s, early 90s. And those tropes were really big in this particular conspiracy. Now I'm gonna just completely deflate everybody's idea that an entire destroyer warship just up and disappeared in thin air, David Copperfield style. Um, mm, some indeed, but but basically, what the reality of it is a lot. It's still pretty neat, but it's not the big conspiracy SCP sort of thing that a lot of people thought that was happening. So the real well the thing here's something that's going to really blow your mind. The USS Eldridge was never in Philadelphia, ever. Oh no, this was a real ship. No, dude, that's part of the show. This, yeah, like I'm presenting a weird thing. You express your awe and give me questions. That's totally fine. I don't mind hopping around with this one. Excuse me. Um. Well, hold on. Uh-oh. Oh, we will discuss him shortly. As soon as I get your yeah, as soon as I get your audio back up. Oh, you know. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah. Now it's working. Sorry about that. Okay, but yeah. Stupid fucking thing. Anyway, so as we know, during World War II, we ended up getting a lot of refugee scientists from the Germans. And that's including this dude, Albert Einstein.
Oh, that's who this mustachioed Mario man is.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Mario's father.
Mario Luigi? Or was it Luigi Mario? Or was it
Um,
or was it
I
Luigi Luigi?
so no. Well, wow. I don't know. I think sometimes he is Luigi Mario.
I don't even know what the difference is anymore. I know they played that
Sometimes they're
they played that stupid shit in the live action Mario with John Leguizamo, but I don't know about the rest.
I think he was Mario. I think they,
He
for
was
some reason, I
yeah.
feel like they weren't actually related in that movie, but I do think they were the Mario brothers. I think it was Mario and Luigi Mario.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. I think it was the Mario brothers, Mario and Luigi Mario.
Which is
But I also
hilarious.
feel like maybe Leguizamo was adopted by their parents or something. But
That's a
I feel like
possibility too.
explicitly mentions that they're not related.
Hmm. But we just went on a tangent about Mario. Anyway,
I'm
yeah,
I'm a
I,
fan
I'm
of
about
Mario deep lore.
I'm all about that Mario lore, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about
So here is Mario's father, Jumpman.
it. Indeed, but no, this is Albert Einstein, and Albert Einstein, of course, most notable for theory of relativity, but also the unified field theory, which was way too convoluted for me to actually understand. And
Okay.
I'm not even going to try and begin to explain it because I'm not a physicist. But what I will say is what is fascinating is that the U.S. government, um, of course, took a lot of German, scholars and things like that because, of course, the Nazis were, decidedly dumb and decided to boot out all the smart people, which, what good does that do you? But anyway, still, despite that, they developed just enough that the German U-boats that were used during the war were quite maneuverable. They um, could outrun ships. They could outmaneuver ships, and that was most of the ships of the modern time. And so the U.S. began making destroyer class ships to help out with the war effort. And it was within the building of one of these destroyer class ships, known as the USS Eldridge.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah. Oh
who was
yes.
one of these
I've heard of
destroyer
this
class
ship.
ships? Yes, I believe that again, you just have to be careful what you're reading, and you have to make sure that you
Well,
you
yeah,
you
yes.
double check your sources on some things, and because there it's a lot of it's definitely muddied with a lot of unnecessary conspiracy theory. But anyway, so um basically this part of the operation went as it pertains to the USS Eldridge was a project known as Project Rainbow, which was a project by the US Navy to potentially make ships invisible.
Yeah.
And
Cloaking device.
yeah, generally a
Like
cloaking
on
device,
ship.
yes. But the reality is a little less daunting. What actually happened was they were making something called degaussing equipment, which
Yes.
which this degaussing equipment was basically a bunch of cables wrapped around a ship that emitted electromagnetic fields that would basically make the ships invisible to deep sea mines, which was
Oh,
another big
okay.
problem with German weaponry at the time. Was they had figured out how to make these mines that could detect the movement of ships and so on and so forth. So Project Rainbow was, again, a bit like, it wasn't necessarily like this big, make things invisible, teleport, or travel through time. It basically was a means of trying to get past German mines and U-boats.
So
And
did they accidentally teleport?
well, that's what most conspiracy theorists say,
Okay.
is that the Eldridge, despite the fact not never being in Philadelphia, and despite the fact that most of the ship's crews have said that, you know, I'm not sworn to secrecy here, this actually happened. Um, there was really no there's really no proof that any of this actually happened. And this is where it gets interesting. So within the same port as the USS Eldridge, there was a ship hand, or a sailor, I guess, actually more proper term. There's a sailor on the ship called the USS Andrew Forsyth, and it was this gentleman by the name of Carlos Miguel Allende, or Allende, excuse me, because there's two L's. It's a Y sound. And he reported to multiple, like, he reported to the Office of Research, the Office of Navy Research. He contacted all sorts of government agencies, multiple, like, media sources, but he didn't really have anything sustainable to prove that he was there, other than that he had his ship number, which the ship number, when traced back, actually led to a man named Carl Meredith Allen, which
Okay.
again, Carlos Miguel Allende, Carl
Okay.
Meredith Allen.
Okay.
They're the same fucking person.
Okay. Okay.
He just spruced up his name.
Yep.
But he tried for years to, get some attention on this whole crazy story. He said that he saw the Eldridge, like, get enveloped by a big green fog, and knew of the
Wow.
electromagnetic generators that they were placing on the ship.
Right. Okay.
Um, but again, it was believed by conspiracy theorists that Einstein's unified field theory and the use of electromagnetic generators um, could just teleport them through space time. Which the reality was, the experimentation was to basically be invisible to passing mines. Um, but going back to what Mr. Allende said, um, he said that upon teleporting, that the ship, when it teleported to Norfolk, Virginia, and back, that the ship remained the same, but the crew inexplicably changed forever. Most of
Oh yeah.
them were fused to the steel inside of the hull of the ship. Uh, oh yes, here we go, Mr. Carlos Allende, everybody. But
Okay.
but yeah, a lot of people were said to be fused to the ship by their hands, um,
Where did this
from their
photograph
waist
come
up.
from?
So this photograph, although a lot of people say, oh my God, it came from the Eldridge on that very day, but the reality is that this is a still from History's Mysteries,
Okay. Okay.
which is
Good.
a
Okay.
which is an old History Channel show. But
Sure.
so again, some were fused to the ship. Some folks were reported to have spontaneously combusted. Um, the rest would have to. The rest were very interesting stories. Some ended up being listed as missing in action, but put into psychiatric wards because they couldn't mentally withstand traveling through time space like that and suffered severe nerve damage. Um,
Which,
and
as you do,
as you do,
that's what happens. Yeah.
um, I already said spontaneously get busted, right? And then some of them there were these like a couple of these cases where it was reported that people just disappeared before their lovers' eyes. Um, one instance was, according to Mr. Allende, he ended up seeing after the incident the ship's crew, at least a handful of the ship's crew, at a bar, to which they end up having the ship's crew had a disagreement and they got into a big brawl. And in the middle of this brawl, all the men just suddenly vaporized and disappeared. It made no it made no sense to anybody, let alone the fact that, of course, Allende was still spinning stories. He also reported that somebody also told him that a member of the ship's crew ended up disappearing in front of his like family's eyes, like just one evening. So let's see here. But yeah, they believe that most of them were believed to have died to being fused to the ship. The rest went insane or disappeared into time space. But again, the reality is at the end of the day, they were nowhere near Philadelphia. And if anything, the closest that they ever came was New York City, according to all the ship's logs, all the reports. And again, they can fake the ship's logs, you know, and it turns out that most of the ship's crew actually were there the day the boat was built and served until the end of World War II. So there's just no means to get around that. There's so many people involved with this that they wouldn't be able to shut them all up. You know, even if you had a skeleton crew, you couldn't shut them all up. That's a big thing to hide. An entire destroyer warship.
Yeah, that's it's a great big thing to say to claim has disappeared.
But Carl Allen, in particular, was known by friends and family to to be a very he liked telling stories a lot, and even so much so that there were some times that the stories that he would tell that even he knew were lies, he would end up believing himself. And
Okay.
so he comes about this theory sometime shortly after the war, and this is around when Roswell's starting to get big, when aliens and UFOs are starting to get to really hit the media limelight, and it's within that Alan begins to have these like flip floppy moments of you know retelling his story to multiple federal agencies and then recanting the story back, and then telling it to newspapers and then recanting it like the following year. He did that for his entire life. um but it was within this time period that Alan ended up becoming friendly with this gentleman. I wouldn't say necessarily say friendly. He just became thoroughly acquainted. This here is UFO enthusiast and astronomer Morris K. Jessup. So
Okay.
this man wrote a book called "The Case for the UFO" back in 1950, 52, I believe, and it was a very popular book. He made a lot of money selling off that book. And what was even, again, very fascinating stuff, you have Carl Allen read this book, and he all of a sudden gets inspired to tell this tale to somebody. He begins writing in the margins of the case for the UFO and sends them to other federal agencies, and even sends a copy to Mr. Morris K. Jessup himself. So, and what's interesting is that most of these writings that were in these books looked like they were written by multiple other people in different handwriting styles. But despite that, they all had the same grammatical errors. They all had the same uh, letters missing from specific words. A lot of just general grammatical errors, or just sometimes indecipherable. And so, a copy of this particular margin written book is sent to the Office of Navy Research, and again also had the strange writings in the margins, basically saying that Jessup was right, and this is how you make a teleportation system, this is how you make a alien propulsion system, and this, that, and the other thing. Now, this package was sent in a manila envelope, and on the outside of the package it said Happy Easter. And the ONR is just really confused. The Office of Navy Research is just absolutely confused. So
Okay.
they try to get a hold of Jessup. And Jessup basically says that he's been receiving the same mail from some guy with the pseudonym Carlos Allende.
Okay.
So the ONR then tries to go out and try to find, Carl Allen, Carlos Allende. And
Sure.
so ONR tries to go and find him, but he can't be found. He has multiple different addresses, multiple different aliases. The man's a ghost for a long while, despite the fact that he still pops up in the popular media, forums about this subject. But it was around this time that the ONR contacted this man, Morris Jessup, that he was frequently asked about his knowledge of like the U.S. government's operations, and is generally a conspiracy theorist, belief that even that Jessup basically ended up in hot water with the U.S. government because of everything that he knew. And it was around like maybe 4 years after this time, in 1955, he just hits rock bottom. He's not making money off his writings anymore. Nobody's buying up the UFO stuff. He gets through a rocky divorce, and he ends up in a car accident that basically leaves him in constant pain. So Jessup ends up basically on 420, mind you. So this was almost a week ago. On 420, he ends up taking his own life by self-inflicted monoxide poisoning in his car.
Just
And,
now?
oh no, and this is 1955, 1959.
Okay.
No. This is a long time ago. I should have specified. 1959. He on 420. He
Was
killed
this
himself.
supposed to be the 420 episode?
This was supposed to be the 420 episode, because again, this is a good one to get stoned to and just be like, no,
Gotcha.
man, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. Again, it's all because at the end of the day, none of this is real. Like, this is like the F is for fake, bit with oh God, who's Citizen Kane? Damn it.
Is it Orson Welles?
Orson Welles, thank you. Yes, but Orson Welles did, and that's another thing. That's maybe another topic that I want to cover for another day. Is F is for fake. It's a faux documentary about Pablo Picasso.
Not about Orson Welles?
No, but it stars and was directed by Orson Welles. I believe it was one of his last films.
It's
that
a
he ever did.
fake documentary about Pablo Picasso by
And
Orson Welles.
well, it's potentially because at one point he like the beginning of the film starts with I believe it was something on the lines of you know I'm here to tell you straight up front that I am lying,
Okay,
and then
right,
he
okay.
and then he begins this big long story about Pablo Picasso, but we'll cover that on another day. But so you got Jessup here, one of the leading ufologists in the U.S. at the time, ends up dead in his car. It was even said by his colleague, like days prior to his death, that that Jessup reported to him that like he had found this like breakthrough in the Philadelphia experiment case.
Okay.
And but yeah, conspiracy theorists up and down believe that his death was directly connected to top secret information that he was privy to and just could no longer be trusted with. But the reality was, at the end of the day, he was put on the government's radar by a mentally ill man and more than likely succumbed to the pressures of his research and his life, as well as the minor grillings that he got from the U.S. government, and it probably got into his head. Um, oh goodness, there's a decent hunk of this that I completely forgot to write down. Thankfully, I have it in my other sets of notes. So years upon years pass, and we'll flash forward into the cocaine times,
Oh
1984.
yeah.
So
All right.
this movie starring, uh, oh goodness, I had her name written down too, and I don't have anymore. But basically, the woman on the left is RoboCop's partner.
Okay.
She stars in this movie. But so this film came out in 1984 after it had been a long time since this had been like even anywhere in the limelight, but it's still kind of like this fun little urban legend, if you will. And again, like none of this is true. Like they basically said that it was like one of those oh, the U.S. government tried to shut us down for making a movie about this event, and
Okay, yeah, of course, yeah.
based on a true story sort of
Uh-huh.
shit.
Sure that, yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and the story goes that two brothers are working on this ship, the USS Eldridge. They end up going through time. This time they don't just go to Norfolk, Virginia. They go to all sorts of random places throughout time space. And these two brothers have to find their way back through time to stop the Eldridge from doing the experiments again.
Okay.
And this really resonated with this gentleman, Alfred Bielek. Now, Alfred Bielek, upon seeing the 1984 film The Philadelphia Experiment in 1988,
Okay.
he he ended up having this kind of weird revelation, this awakening, if you will. He thought that he had his entire life taken away from him and put onto the screen.
Oh.
It is within this that he believed that the Philadelphia experiment was not only real, but the film somehow awakened a brainwashed memory that the U.S. government scrubbed away. He
A
also
memory of him being on
the
of
USS
him doing some
Eldridge
dimensional travel?
and doing all sorts of interdimensional travel with his brother, just like in the movie. Uh, and he stops the experiment, just like in the movie. And what's even funnier is like throughout the 90s, he had been on a bunch of like conspiracy theory talk shows and things like that. He was a big dude on the circuit. even so much so that he even started to say that he was part of what is known as the Montauk Project, um,
Okay,
which
yeah.
was, again, what Stranger Things was based off of. There's a whole bunch of human experiments happening in the middle of Montauk, New York, and this dude claimed to be one of the scientists that performed some of the experiments leading up to the Philadelphia experiment, to which was like that was his cutoff point. That was his going too far moment, I guess. Um, he also believed that he was 10 years older than what it said on his birth certificate.
Okay. All right.
And again, that the U.S. government made him, brainwashed him into forgetting that he was 10 years older, which I don't know.
Interesting.
But
Interesting claims, buddy.
I know, right? So again, at the end of the day, there was no there was no experiment here. There was no documentation that anything other than the documented usage of um, small electromagnetic generators to basically create like a cloaking field for deep sea mines. Other than that, nobody was turned invisible. Nobody was infused to the hull of a ship.
Nobody was fused to the hull of a ship, man.
Nobody spontaneously combusted. Nobody went mad with nerve damage. Nobody disappeared in the middle of a bar fight.
No one was vaporized, huh?
Nobody was vaporized. Again, this was just one gigantic, elaborate theory that people just wanted to feed off of. It was just a means of getting, their paydays. There was no real experiment. Again, Project Rainbow was a real concept. But again, the project solely was just doing the electromagnetic testing to become invisible to deep sea mines. Other than that, that's all it did. There was no actual invisibility project or time travel project, and it became such a big deal because what's funny is in 1996 the USS Eldridge was actually let me pull up that picture again. The Eldridge was actually decommissioned by the U.S. Navy and was then used by the Greek Navy. It had a different name. I believe it was called the Leon.
Okay.
But in 1996, the Eldridge became a feature once more because of the fact that it had disappeared again. And it again is just another situation of just absolute lunacy that made people believe into this, and people bought in. Oh man, it disappeared again. It's those pesky electromagnetic generators that were installed into it, despite the fact that when you decommission a ship to another country, I wouldn't think that you would leave top secret you know devices on there to have another government take. But beyond that was, although it did go missing, the reality was is that it was found in a shipyard not that far off from where it was meant to be, and that it was just a simple
Okay.
clerical error that ended up sending it to the wrong spot.
Sure.
And it was sometime shortly around that the ship was completely decommissioned and broken down into scrap. And yeah, that's basically the long and short of the tale of the USS Eldridge and the Philadelphia experiment.
Wacky.
I know, right? And again, like, it amazed me how much I heard all the same reptilian, deep state crap with these, with this particular theory, which
Did
makes
the deep did the would the deep state have a reason to make a ship disappear?
other than parlor tricks and show of might, not really.
Ah, yeah, show of might from the deep state.
Yeah, because the
That's
deep
why
state
the
wants to be known.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. They
Like
want to make sure everybody knows that they can make a ship disappear.
uh, again, stupid. And I'm thinking that within the next week or so, I'm gonna do some research on the Montauk project,
Okay,
which that's
which is
is
Stranger Things.
a whole nother subplot of this one experiment.
Any blobs? Do they create blobs at the Montauk Project? That's what they do on Stranger Things.
I'm not certain, but I know that they do a lot of telekinetic experimentation, or at least that's what
Okay.
that's what's suspected of
All
the
right,
Montauk
sure.
project.
Yeah. Do
But
you know
yeah,
about the Montauk Monster?
no, I'm not familiar.
Oh, it was like I think people think that it was probably like a dead raccoon, but it was a corpse that washed up,
Oh,
and it was scary and had a beak on it, but
I
it
think I know what you're talking about.
probably, yeah, probably was not really a beak.
I think I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah, you can Google Montauk Monster. Ew, gross, a corpse. People think maybe it's a very decayed raccoon.
it does look like a very decayed raccoon.
Very ew. I'm sorry that I brought that up. I forgot we were going
Oh,
to be looking at a decayed corpse.
the
Um,
monster of Montauk. That's so
yeah,
funny.
so Montauk is a scary place where they have telekinetic children and dead raccoons.
So it's been reported by uh, Fox News.
Yeah, that's right.
Why am I not shocked?
By your boys.
Uh, man, I'm just glad that I'm just glad somebody's reporting this nonsense, even if it is fake. Not really. This is that's why do I
I
still
was
have this
thinking
up?
about how I was always very. I've talked a couple times recently about how I was always very fond of like the UFO news. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like when
it's
Unsolved
interesting.
Mysteries was on, and I
Hmm.
was so some of those people grew up and are
Mm.
talking about lizard mans
Oh no, a lot
and
of uh,
much less savory things.
I mean a lot of what was it? Uh, Factor
Factor fiction.
Fiction with Jonathan Frakes.
Oh, that, yeah, 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 yeah. I love that
That was.
shit. I love that man.
Have you seen?
Oh
There's like a
man.
super cut of like him asking the audience questions. It's
Yes, I've seen.
hilarious.
There's a couple different supercuts. I've seen the one of him
Really.
asking questions.
How many dots are there on a basketball? Or like it's the most like you know it's like that Family Guy bit. I just sat down and this is how you're going to start a conversation. What the hell?
Yes.
Like that's exactly how I feel when Jonathan Frakes. Like I would just love to have Jonathan Frakes come into a room that I'm in and ask a crowd of people a ridiculous question. Hopefully, not referring to like all of a sudden the room goes quiet and they all stare at him and he's just like, oh, do you know where my keys are? And as everybody's disappointed, oh, he didn't do the thing. Oh well. But but yeah, bud. I this shit was fucking fascinating to me. I again, there's a
Wacky,
lot more.
wacky nonsense.
Yes, it just
Wacky,
absolute
wacky American. Let's do a segment called Wacky American History.
wacky American history. We'll bring, we'll bring back the Truth Fist guy and see what he has to say about that. Ugh, seriously, like what a very unsavory gentleman. But again, it really gave some perspective into how conspiracy laden this thing is, and how to just be very careful as what you take as fact. Because who knows, you might end up like Mr. Morris K. Jessup there, and end up in your car unalived.
Let me uh let me tell you something about not believing things. I don't believe anything.
I don't believe in anything
I don't believe anything that I see on the internet. I don't believe anything
either.
I hear on the radio. I don't believe anything I see on my phone. I got a text message. Okay?
Hmm.
It
A
was a
text message.
photograph. I got a text message. It was a photograph of a bunch of young weed plants. It said, "Hey Dave, that's me. This
Hmm.
is Kenton, your neighbor. I've never heard of Kenton, my neighbor. Would you like to give some of my young clones a home?" It's very possible that someone right across the street from me wants to give me free pot. But in my head, this is either the
It's a
cops
setup.
or
This is
some
entrapment.
scam. This is some kind of entrapment for someone. If it's not the cops, it's some kind of scam where every time I talk to them, they charge me 50 cents for sending a text and they just try to talk to me as long as possible. It's something, but I can't believe it. Someone wants to give me pot. Someone 500 feet away wants to give me pot, and I can't believe anything that comes out of my phone. So
There's
that's
nothing
where we're
worse.
at. I sound like fucking Alec Jones.
No,
Alec.
no.
That's his name from now on this show.
I
Keith Ledger, we decided, is the man who played the Joker and was killed by pills
Keith
with
Ledger.
the Keith Ledger,
Keith
the
Ledger
girl from Home Alone, and Alec Jones is now the name of the man with the frogs and the bullshit
with the
on
frogs and the
Sandy Hook.
bullshit.
Yeah, Alec Jones. Yeah,
No, no. It's Alex Jobs with a
Alex Jopes.
Alec Jobs. Jobes.
Yes,
Or
okay.
maybe we'll call him Jobus.
Jobis, Alec Jobis,
Alec
Alec
Jobus.
Jobis, yeah, Alec Jobis, our boy. Let's check in. Let's check in with Alec Jobis when we talk about what were we talking about? The fact that I can't look at my phone.
The
What were
fact
we
that
talking about?
about how everything is fake, everything's not real. Birds are holograms. Australia isn't real.
Yeah, Australia's not real now. Is that a thing, or is that
That's a
just
thing that like the Earth is flat. Antarctica and
okay? No,
and
yeah, okay, yeah, that's right.
Australia,
Yeah.
Antarctica aren't real. Oh wait, no,
If
it's
the Earth
New
was
Zealand.
flat,
New
it
Zealand
wouldn't
is
be
not real.
real.
New Zealand is
Okay,
not real for some reason, but I don't know why.
it's well, it would be down. It would be underneath the equator. Did they think that though there's a wall at the equator and everything below the equator is fake? But is Brazil real? I don't. I mean, I don't even. I don't want to know what. I don't want to know what. I don't want to know. I
Yeah,
don't want to know. And everyone. I can't. I feel like I've never been too great at talking to the public at large, but I feel like everyone out there wants to tell me something like that. That Australia's on the bottom of the disc world, or you know,
it's on the B side of the record that is Earth.
yeah, exactly. Or
Yeah,
chips disappear because of lizards in Hollywood and whoever the fuck and Hillary
and
Clinton killing people with hammers.
uh,
You know, the usual stuff.
you know, drag story hour somehow emits 5G that gives you COVID or some shit.
Oh yeah, remember when I got vaccinated and my car keys stuck to me because I was magnetic? And then I pulled the door off the car with my magnetism powers and chucked it across the
Wait,
street like in the movie.
what was it? Was it Ian McKellen who was
Yes.
Magneto?
Yeah, it sure was.
You use your Ian
It sure
McKellen
was
powers?
Magneto. Yeah, I used my E and my God, yeah, from getting vaccinated.
Oh my god, that's so fucking hilarious.
I can't even believe the things I can't even believe the things that I've heard over the past 4 to 3 to 5 years. I can't believe the things that I've heard come out of American people's mouths over the past 45 years.
Which is
That period.
why Truth Fist is a television show.
Yeah, that's why we got it. That's why we got to do it. That's why we got to bring it to the people.
Yeah, we gotta let them like I don't know, I've been watching this one comedian, I forget his name, but he goes to like like anti-choice rallies and all these like right-wing rallies and town hall meetings that are like trying to ban books and shit. And he goes in and he basically sounds exactly like the Truth Fist guy, but he's a little more believable.
Oh yeah,
But he
yeah,
does this whole bit of like, you know, the Second Amendment shall not be encroached, but I can't allow these other people to say that my Second Amendment doesn't matter because that encroaches my First Amendment. Sort of like stupid shit.
yeah. It goes in a loop and doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's just it's audible circle jerking at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, really, no, really. I really think that like so much of so much of our culture, maybe not
Mm-hmm.
our culture broadly, but a lot of what we have discussed today has to do with peop with people's confirmation, with people
Yeah.
getting their ideas confirmed. When they have some stupid idea and somebody else says, "Yes," and this thing that agrees with your idea, and then they feed off each other. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
on the internet and it's terrible and everyone believes that the earth is flat and here we go.
And yeah, and then everybody, you know, is trying to get their amount of slack, and everybody's trying to, um, you know, fuck them if they can't take a joke, sort of shit. Like, and yeah, it's just an endless like loop of just audible fellatio. It's not even stating anything real at this point. It's just we know
There's
this to
definitely
be
a lot
true.
of fellatio going on in this country.
Yeah, a lot of yoga masters, a lot of self-felating people these days.
Yes.
I mean, hey, with the innovations of YouTube, like you can learn how to do that in 30 minutes or something like that. There's got to be at least one
30
channel.
minutes, you reckon?
I don't know. Let me see if I can find uh, let's see if I can find a video for
Maybe you shouldn't do that.
that.
I don't know. It does, you know.
I heard about that one guy that broke his neck trying to suck his own ween. That that's an old urban legend that I don't know. Did you ever get that when you were younger?
A kid broke his neck trying to do it?
Yeah,
I feel like I might have heard about that.
that's an old urban
I
legend.
feel like maybe. That seems like something that's really possible.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Again, American urban legends like, and I still need to finish that book. Who was it? God damn it! Why are these names escaping me today? Um, Creator of the Sandman, Neil Gaiman.
Oh,
American
American
Gods.
Gods?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would like to read that.
that concept is the story. It's pretty good so far. Like I got maybe like 4 or 5 chapters in, but the thing that really kind of enlightened me a little bit was the sole fact that for one, that Americans don't really have like a set of like mythologies, much like other nations do. Like you have the Greeks, the Romans have their own general mythologies. You have uh, the Druids of ancient Britain and so forth. And here we are, this fresh nation. The only gods that we really have mythologically are what the natives had when they first settled here, bajillions of years ago. And then like what we have the chupacabra. Well, no, that's a Mexican goat eater. But I mean, or the Mothman, for example.
We got some things.
We got some things, but
We got big feats.
hey, it's me, Big Feets. Oh man, I need to go watch Futurama. Did they come out with the new season yet? I
I don't know.
I would certainly hope not. I don't know. It
I mean,
ended
it's
perfect.
happening. They got the guy. There was a big hubbub about whether Bender's voice actor was coming back, and he is. So it's
Oh,
happening. I don't know if it did happen, but it is going to happen.
well, I mean, John DiMaggio is like
Yes.
the most on-demand voice actor. So not surprising, but like I don't know. I was fine with leaving it the way that it was. Like it's starting to get to the point that like Billy West is starting to sound like Hubert Farnsworth like regularly, and I'm wondering
Oh,
if he can go back
yeah.
to the Friday. Good news. Like the old shaky. He does that. Like Billy West is great too. Like an amazing, amazing voice actor. But but yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
I,
didn't watch very much Futurama.
I don't, this it was overall a really good series. I just wish they'd stop trying to revive it over and over again. It's like Spaceballs, the search for more money sort of shit.
Yes.
But what I know. But anyways, man, yeah. I think that was it for me today. I think that's all I got. I think my voice is
Terrific.
starting to go again.
Yeah, it does take a, yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard to talk for a while. I've been getting back to it, but it
yeah,
does. By the end of the day, there's kind of a,
yeah.
you know,
I'm
yeah,
starting to feel the gravels. But yeah. But thanks, thanks again. I'm glad that you're feeling better, and glad we got
yeah,
to
great,
get
yeah,
a
you too, yeah,
glad we got a
good,
Tuesday talking.
yeah, glad to
Finally.
do it.
And then so next week, thinking Montauk Project might be an interesting
Okay,
subject unless you got something in mind.
I don't know, but let me look around, let me think about it, let me see. I'll get back to you by Thursday.
Sounds good. Maybe we'll do a twofer. And then
Awesome, cool, cool, cool.
Thursday we'll do some more Minecrafting or something or another.
I feel like that is, yeah, I feel like that's a good idea. Let's do
All
that.
right, deal, bud.
All right,
Uh,
awesome.
all right, cool deal. And again, it's been thought that was weird. We're here every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've been
Yeah,
Thrashkeiishu. That has been CuyaDK, the man with the plan and the host with the toast. We'll
yeah.
catch y'all next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.